Good evening. My name's Bradford McIntyre. I would like to thank you for coming out to the AIDS Vancouver We Care Red Ribbon Campaign event, Parting Glances. AIDS Vancouver launched the We Care Red Ribbon campaign on November 1st at City Hall, with Mayor Gregor Robinson proclaiming November Red Ribbon Month. Parting Glances is just one of the campaign events. Please check the We Care Red Ribbon campaign calendar for our other events. You're invited to take part in the weekly noon series at Robson Square, UBC. Please join us at the Red Ribbon Gala, November 30th. This is a cocktail gala reception at the Museum of Vancouver. Tickets are sold through ticketweb.ca. And let's not forget, December 1st is World AIDS Day. It has been almost 30 years since HIV first emerged and AIDS became synonymous with stigma and misconceptions. The same fear and discrimination that characterized the epidemic then is still with us today. AIDS Vancouver's role in the lives of our clients is more necessary today than ever before. Many people today believe that because HIV is a chronic, manageable disease and not the guaranteed death sentence it once was, that it is no longer a matter of public concern. But medical research has made many major strides, yet there still is no cure, and there continues to be no vaccine to protect us from HIV. Yet we, as a society, remain silent. This silence leads to future stigma. This silence leads to the fear of testing and treatment. The silence leads people to believe that it won't happen to them. This silence leads to new infections going unnoticed. AIDS Vancouver wants to change that, and we want your help to spread the love and stop the virus. Together we can protect each other. We have chosen to use the red ribbon as our rallying symbol, a symbol of the AIDS movement that continues to represent solidarity and hope. Our intent is to enhance and revive this traditional symbol through our We Care Red Ribbon campaign, aimed at recapturing the fading awareness and combating the public silence around HIV. These are our red ribbon. These are the themes of our Red Ribbon campaign. Parting Glances. This film, which you are about to see, is a new 35mm restoration. In 2007, Parting Glances was the first feature film restoration by the Outfest Legacy Project for LGBT film preservation. Steve Buscemi and Kathy Kinney, through their financial contributions, were instrumental in the restoration of the film. Parting Glances was one of the first American films to address the AIDS epidemic and the impact on the gay community. At the time, an HIV infection was thought to be a death sentence. Bill Sherwood wrote and directed the film. Parting Glances was shot in 1984 and released in 1986. This was his first and only feature film. Bill Sherwood died of AIDS in 1990 at age 37. In the film, Richard Gannog plays the character of Michael. John Bolger plays Robert. Steve Buscemi plays Nick. Adam Nathan plays Peter, and Kathy Kinney plays Joan. Parting Glances was the first film appearance for Richard Gannog, Kathy Kinney, and Steve Buscemi. Bill Sherwood wrote the movie while he and Kathy Kinney were secretaries at CBS Television in New York City. He wrote the character of Joan with Kathy Kinney in mind. Producing the film was a struggle along with funding problems, but in the end, the film was released in 1986. Parting Glances is as relevant today as it was in the early days of HIV and AIDS. The film is a snapshot over a 24-hour period in the lives of these characters. Bill Sherwood captures their experiences. I tried to contact the actors to speak with them about their roles in the film and perhaps share an anecdote. I was fortunate to speak with Kathy Kinney's best friend of 35 years. Kathy's manager then called me at the request of Kathy Kinney. Prior to Parting Glances, Kathy Kinney was teaching improv in New York City. Kathy Kinney, well known for her hilarious role as Mimi in the Drew Carey Show, and Cindy Ratzlaff, an award-winning marketing professional, have released their book, Queen of Your Own Life, The Growing Up Woman's Guide to Claiming Happiness and Getting the Life You Deserve. The book was published in April 2010 and is a bestseller. Kathy is the character Mrs. P, an award-winning, free, interactive digital storytelling destination. Classic children's stories are brought to life by the TV star Kathy Kinney, located at mrsp.com. I spoke at length on the phone with Richard Ganard, who played the leading role in Parting Glances. He voiced, and I quote, "The film is about people, friendship, and love, and a testament to the friendship the actors continue to have. The film was a labor of love," unquote. Richard Ganard wants to know, does this film still talk to you? Richard will be happy to hear from you, and you can contact him through his website at richardganard.com. Today, Richard is appearing in the play In the Next Room, or The Vibrator play, in Madison, Wisconsin. Before his role in Parting Glances, Steve Buscemi was a firefighter in Brooklyn and appeared in a small theater company in New York's Greenwich Village. I wasn't able to speak with Steve Buscemi as he is currently filming the Martin Scorsese HBO series Boardwalk Empire, in which he plays Enoch Necky Thompson. Steve has said of his role of Nick in Parting Glances that it is his most favorite character. The film Parting Glances took me back. It brought back memories of my experiences and what I saw happening to others. People were sick and dying. In 1981, my friend's sister called me to tell me he was in the hospital. They didn't know what was wrong, and he developed a rare, unusual pneumonia. In the hospital, he was put in isolation. Large orange signs read, "High risk," to protect others from the unknown disease. It was unknown, and how the disease was transmitted and contracted unknown. He didn't die of the pneumonia, and in 1982, he was the first person in Canada to go blind from this ailment. Sadly, in 1983, he died. At that time, the world was just beginning to learn about this deadly virus. Now, it is known as HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. In 1994, I was infected. I learned I was infected. As you know, November is the We Care Red Ribbon campaign. For a long time, November has been an important month for me. November has has always been a month to get to and get through, and a celebration of life. On November 28, 1985, I was told by my doctor to inform my family, arrange my finances and funeral. I had 6 months to live. In the early years, the incorrect thinking that HIV was an automatic death sentence created the fear. Stigma and discrimination followed. That stigma still persists. I moved away from home and isolated myself, so no one would see me get sick or die. In the early years, there were times of hopelessness, unable to really take care of myself, silently screaming for help. I was doing without, alone, afraid, waiting to die. For years I lived in fear, until a friend told me that I had suffered long enough and hard enough, and it was time to get on with my life. I knew it was true. I took control of my life and started to move in a positive direction. Moving away from fear allowed me to show up for life. In 1994, I announced publicly on national TV, on the Deanie Petty Show, World AIDS Day, December 1st, 1994, that I was infected with HIV. Moving away from the fear allowed me to be out about HIV and educate others. For 16 years, I have been out about HIV publicly. People need to see others living with HIV and AIDS. We are not, who are not afraid to disclose that they are infected in order to move away from the fear. This will prevent the need for people to withdraw or hide the fact that they have been infected with HIV. Through educating others, it is my aim to help break down the stigma and discrimination around HIV and AIDS. There are 40 million people around the world infected with HIV. 27 million people have died from HIV. 10 million people don't know they've been infected with HIV. 7,000 people die every day from HIV. In Canada, every 2 hours, someone is infected with HIV. HIV doesn't discriminate. You can't tell by looking that someone is infected. We are all here together, connected. Nothing is happening to just one of us, but affecting all of us. Spread the love. Stop the violence. Together, we can protect each other. Spread the love. Stop the violence. And now we're going to have a look at the PSA. It has been nearly 30 years since the first reported case of HIV, and silence still plagues the HIV/AIDS movement. Within this shroud of silence, ignorance and fear have been able to flourish throughout the community. One of our best defenses in the fight against HIV and AIDS is education and communication. It is our hope that this new decade will allow for a more open discussion of the issues associated with HIV by the entire community. This PSA, Stigma, the Silent Epidemic, Breaking Down the Silence, has used Free Flow, a local Vancouver band, to help break the silence. Free Flow has been performing and touring nationally and internationally for the last 10 years. Free Flow uses their music and talent to support many worthwhile causes. We are extremely grateful to Free Flow for lending their talent and time to this PSA. AIDS Vancouver and the We Care Red Ribbon Campaign Would also like to thank Vancouver Film Institute graduate Jay McMillan for donating his time and talent to this campaign in creating these public service announcements. I'm sorry.
I couldn't get it working, so I just asked.
Oh. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to get it going, so you can go to the website, AIDS Vancouver website, and you'll be able to see stigma breaking the silence, the silent epidemic breaking down the silence. Now, let's watch this important film. Thank you.